Hello William, this is going to be your video on how to operate your lightsaber and basic tips and other operational things that you should keep in mind. So you're going to be getting the lightsaber like this. I did orient it the correct way. I flipped this around. It's supposed to have the underside be the open gap. Plus it also helps with sound venting because there are holes underneath. And then of course you have it, the D-ring is facing the back, which is good. The D-ring will be facing backwards when you put it in. The clamp, you'll want these things facing that way. I think when the clamp faces this way, I think that is used for the more sequel trilogies, maybe in a couple iterations, I don't remember exactly. And then you'll want the top section facing that way if you're going for episode 5, episode 7, episode 8. Episode 4, it does face the other direction, this way. But that's up to you. But if you want to keep it a little bit more accurate, you can have it face the right, and then you'll want the open gap section to be right in the middle of this little window, because then it'll be oriented correctly, facing perfectly that way, etc. Anyways, that is that section. So to operate it, you just open it up. This will slide around, so you'll want to hold on to that a little bit. You can open up the bottom section, and then you have the soundboard. I'll open up the top too, just so we have a better look. You have the soundboard in here. I have it pushed in, it's not going anywhere. The SD card, you just pop this up, push the SD card in, and then you can pull it out, and you'll hear a click knowing when it's secure in, or you can release it. So just mess around with that a little bit. And then this is the other side. This is going to be your kill switch. I forgot which one is on and off. I think this one might be off. This is my little retention screw. You won't ever need it. Basically, this is what holds this plastic chassis in place. When you watch my build videos, you can see how it all goes together. If you ever want to take all of this out, you'll have to do what I did in the very first part of the video. Remove these, remove this, remove this, remove this, which involves a screw back there. Remove this section, you just unscrew it, you pull that out, you unscrew these, you pull this out, you pull that part out. It's a big endeavor, but anyways, I don't think you'll ever need to do that. But if you ever need to, you can just watch the video that I first put, or look it up on YouTube, how to undo an 89 Sabers Graflex. So that is about that for how the hilt is working. So when you put the battery in, this is just my test battery, I'll give you a new one when I send it to you. This is negative, this side is positive. So towards the speaker is positive, towards the blade is negative. You just drop it in. Oh, I guess this is on. So this is off, and then this is on. It'll play the non-working font first. Press the red button, just like you wanted, to turn it on and off. There you go. So you press it once to turn it on. You hold it just a tiny, tiny bit to turn it off. This is the auxiliary button, so just... There you go. Let me put in the rest just to show you how it sounds, because it does sound pretty loud. I have this currently on 40% volume, because anything louder than that was a bit too loud for me, but of course you can just change the volume yourself. You could either use Bluetooth, which is what I like to do, because it's pretty easy. You don't have to put the SD card in the computer or anything. So let me show that off to you a little bit. So this is going to be your Bluetooth. It's the CrystalFX, or ForceSync. CrystalFX is specifically for CrystalFocus, which is what you have in here, and it gives you just a lot more options. So let me see. It's going to come up as this FSC BT909LE. When you connect it, it's going to ask you for the code. It's going to be 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you pair, and it won't ask you again because it'll remember the device. And then you can basically just do you can just mess with it. As you can see, you've got the blade style library, which is basically online. You can upload the blade profiles that people make and just upload to this big library, and you can just do it wirelessly. Whoops, disconnected there. There we go. You can update the firmware, you can update pretty much anything. This is the volume section. As you can see, I have it all on 40 because it just sounds a bit nicer to me and it's not quite as loud. You can move it up to 75%. I wouldn't go any higher than 75% just to keep the speakers safe, but that's just something to keep in mind and something that you can do. So this is the CrystalFX app. Really, really useful. You can use it to pretty much set up anything on the SD card and config file, and you won't need to plug it into the computer. And it basically eliminates the need for you to have a micro USB to plug into the board, which is great. You'll still want to access the SD card every now and again, and sorry about that, running out of storage on my phone, so I'll make this quick. Basically, you don't really need a micro USB because of the Bluetooth. You'll still need access to the SD card occasionally if you want to update a couple things. But other than that, this is what you're going to want to keep in mind. You're going to sand this when you get a blade, because this is a clear tube, which fits easier. Trans white is a bit thicker for some reason. So you just put it in. Sometimes if you need to, you just pinch these together to let it go in better. Connect sound. This is your blade retention screw, so you just screw it in if you need, and to push it in. You may need to sand it or chop off the end a little bit to make it fit a little bit more flush. So you tap that to turn it on. This is the auxiliary button. Hold it down for clash. Pull it down once for the blaster blocks. If you want to change to the different colors, just tap both at the same time. Auxiliary and activation, then you just turn it to the different colors, and then you can hold down the auxiliary button from here
blade profiles
to go into blade profiles, and it just goes into the different types of blade animations I have set up. I have 30 blades, 30 colors, and 30 sound fonts on here, roughly. So
color profiles.
If you want to go out of it, just hold down the
blade profiles.
Just hold down the activation. Or you just tap the activation, there you go. For force activation, I have the board up here. I turned it from the other side because it senses the magnet easier from here. When you get that, you'll just need to mess around to figure out where best to put it. It's pretty easy, but sometimes it's a little finicky. Sorry about that. It's really difficult to juggle with no storage space. So as I was saying, it's a little bit finicky to have the force activation, but once you figure out where to put the magnet, it'll work really easy. And then you can always adjust it in the settings. There we go, see? You just do that right over the board, which is right there. So pretty much what you have to keep in mind is sanding the blade right there. 30 fonts, 30 blade profiles, 30 different colors is what I have set up in here. That's the connect sound. If you want to cycle through the sound fonts, you just hold this down.
Sound bank selection.
And then you go forward with this.
Green. Purple.
You go backwards
Green.
with this one and jump 5 by pressing
CrystalFX.
both.
Youngling.
And then you select it by holding the activation. There we go. So I've got a whole bunch of different controls on here that come standard with the CrystalFocus. I'm sending you a bunch of resources in the description of the video. You can look at that to see how to edit the config file, the SD card, the sound fonts. I'll be sending you a bunch of stuff and the basic interaction guide, so you'll be able to see what kind of controls can be used in here. I think that's pretty much about it. It's not too difficult to manage this lightsaber. If you have any questions, just let me know. I guess one last thing I could show you is there's one other way to switch fonts is you hold down the auxiliary, you hold down the auxiliary button when it's off, and then you just clash, I believe. Oh no, you hold down the activation button and you clash, and then you
Green. Purple.
go forward. There you go. So that's another way. Yeah, so basically just have fun. Hope you enjoy it. Has a lot of cool things in here. Bluetooth, force activation, all the CrystalFocus stuff. So have fun and may the force be with you.